Yeah, good morning, every one of you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, we have seen this unit 4, which is leaching. Okay, in the last, up to the last class, we have seen some of the topics inside this leaching chapter. So, leaching in a simple way, we can define that removal of solute from the solids using some suitable solvent. So, it is solid to liquid operation. So, removal of solute from solid particles using some suitable solvent is called a leaching. So contents inside this one is industrial applications of leaching operation and definitions. We have to, after definitions, we have to define the industrial application. Since we already seen this one, industrial applications. Now today we will see this types of leaching operations. So how many types of leaching operations are there? What are the classifications of these leaching operations? The leaching, we already defined this one, solid liquid extraction or lixivication we can call. And steps inside leaching, what are the steps? Then decoction, what is the dissolution, what are other types of meaning also there, which popularly we may confuse with other types of operations also, like decoction, dissolution, illitration or illusion, all this. Then industrial applications of leaching also we have seen. Then the factors also we have seen, factors influencing rate of leaching. Then the classification, so to some extent we have already discussed this one. So leaching equipments, so leaching equipments are classified based on time dependency, means whether it's a steady state or whether it's an unsteady state. And it is also classified based on the contact pattern, so how solids are just moving or solids are just in a fixed manner, only the solvent is moving or not. Based on that one, it's a contact pattern. Then based on time, it is steady state or unsteady state operations. And among this unsteady state, there are two operations. One is batch operation. Unsteady state means dependent on time, and steady state means independent of time. So unsteady state operations, among this unsteady state operation, there are two types. So one is a batch and semi batch operation, and together we can club up this one, batch and semi batch operation. We can have all these type of classifications of leaching equipment or leaching processes, we can say. So like in situ or in place leaching at the mine itself. Then heap leaching at after getting the mining operation and after crushing this one. So we will do this operation, leaching operation. So these two are the coarse particles leaching operation, means large lumps of the solids can be used to leach the soluble matter inside these two operations, whereas solids of somewhat intermediate particle size. So these are the coarse particles and these are the intermediate particle size, meaning not that much coarse and not that much fine particles also. So in between these two particle sizes, which is called as intermediate particle sizes, we can use this percolation tanks or shank process, we can say. These percolation tanks are of two types. One is a closed vessel and then it is also a open vessel. So this closed vessel and open vessel, there is certain advantages in this one. What is the closed vessel and what are the advantages in the open vessels? So we will discuss that one. Then these percolation operations usually are in cross current operation. So solvent will flow in one direction and this solids will flow in other direction. So cross flow operation. So in order to design and in order to have a maximum soluble constituent in the solution, final solution or a leached solution, so one process which is a continuous counter current process is called as a Shanks process is designed. So okay, this is nothing but operation of tanks without moving solids, only solvent is moving inside the many tanks. Up to 6 to 16 tanks will be there. From 6 to 16 tanks, how we can move this move the liquid, how we can take out the solids. So that type of design is known as the Shanks process. So this is a continuous counter current operation of a operation of a tanks, various tanks. So that is called a Shanks process. This is very important for your syllabus. Then agitated vessels. So wherever the particles cannot be directly leached down, they need sometimes some external forces. So that type of operations, in that type of cases, we can use agitated vessels using some external force or some external paddles or some stirrers. We can use agitated vessels. These are also of three types are there. Then filter press leaching. Okay, for very small particles or fine particles, we can use filter press. You might have seen in the mechanical unit operations, the filter presses will be there, plate and frame filter press. like this. When you apply some solvent to that to that solids, when they are pressed with some plate and frame type, so the solids will be leached down and the solution will be leaving behind. That solution we can use to refine, and then the whatever the soluble matter is there, we can take it out. Then the steady state operation, among this one, there are continuous operation. This usually referred to as a continuous operation, which is steady state. So continuously these equipments are running. So among these steady state and continuous operations, the leaching during grinding is the example. So wet grinding is the best example from your mechanical unit operations. So wet grinding and dry grinding is there in your mechanical operation. So wet grinding is nothing but some solid, some solvent content or some water content is sprayed in order to lower the short circuiting, or lower the heat content, heat which is generated during grinding. In order to lower that heat, in order to extract that heat, the wet grinding is employed. Similar is the case here. During the grinding itself, some solvent will be applied. Best example is the gold extraction. So 50 to 60% of the gold can be extracted using this method, leaching during grinding, using the sodium cyanide solution or a potassium cyanide solution, using some cyanide solutions together with the ore. This gold ores will be grinded in a wet grinding setup. Then the solution will be cyanide solution along with extracted gold will be coming out. Then that will be subjected to further purification. Then gold will be extracted. Then inside this steady state also, these agitated vessels are also there, which can be operated in a continuous manner. So agitated vessels can be operated in a batch fashion or semi-batch fashion and continuous fashion. So all the three operations can be possible, like a batch, semi-batch, and this continuous operations can also be possible inside the agitated vessel. Then next one is a Boltzmann extractor, is a continuous extractor. Then Hildebrand extractor is a continuous extractor. Then continuous decanter, continuous cycle decanter. This is then Kennedy extractor. So these are all the extractors, and along with this, some of the mechanical unit operations like classifiers, thickeners, rotocell, hydrocyclone. All this will comes under the category of continuous leaching operation or steady state leaching operation. So for your syllabus itself, the whatever the content which is there in the bold, so these are all there for your syllabus. So dispersed. Then the classification is based on contact pattern, whether the solids are contacted to liquid, how the passion will be there. So whether it is a fixed bed or whether it is a moving bed. So depending on that one, there is a classification. So dispersed. Okay, dispersed means something they will dispersed, meaning some external force will be applied. So solids will be dispersed phase. So solids will be separated from each other. So that's an example of this agitated vessel. So agitated vessels will comes under the category of dispersed. Then moving bed. So moving bed means bed will move like a fluidized bed. So that type of the solids will be moving here. So that type of operation equipments are Boltzmann extractor and Hildebrand extractor. So these two are very important. Then next one is a fixed bed. So solids will be fixed, only solution will be moving. So that is called as a percolation. So fixed bed is also called as a percolation. So in this percolation, there are two types. One is whether the solvent is just spraying from the top or whether the solvent is completely immersing the solids. So two types of operations will be possible inside that one. If fixed bed operation, whether the solvent is just sprinkled or just sprayed from the top of the solids, is called as a spray percolation tanks. And immersion percolation tanks are nothing but when the solids are filled inside that one and liquid is just filling. So top side of the supernatant will be taken as a solution. So that type of operation is called as a immersion type of fixed bed operation or immersion type of percolation tanks. So these are the classification. So all these which are in the bold is for your syllabus, like dispersed, moving bed, fixed bed percolation, agitated vessel, Boltzmann, Hildebrand, then leaching during grinding, agitated vessel, Boltzmann extractor, Hildebrand, then percolation in closed vessels or intermediate particle solids, then Shanks process, percolation tanks in open vessels, then heap leaching, in situ leaching. All these are there according to your syllabus and also from your old question papers. Then the first one we will see what is in situ leaching. So in situ leaching and heap leaching, these two are for the coarse particle leaching operations. So big lumps will be leached out here. So these are not, this is one type of auxiliary operation we can say, because large part of leaching solute cannot be extracted from this type of operation, because in the leaching, when we have seen in this factors affecting the leaching, so as small as the particle size is there, that solute, the solvent can access the solute particle which is situated inside that particle, solid particle. So leaching will depends on the particle size also. So when the particle size you are reducing, means the leaching ability will be enhanced, or efficiency of the leaching will be very high. So coarse particle leaching will be very low. But as such, in the industrial operation, these coarse particle leachings are used in order to extract some very low grade ores, like a copper ore, like a gold ore, like a salt ore, or uranium we can say, in the form of uranium in the form of oxide form, like UO2, UO3. Like this one, we can extract the uranium using some carbonate solution. Like a gold can be extracted from the gold ores using cyanide solution. Then copper can be extracted using some suitable solvents, and the salts can be extracted using some water or some other suitable solvents. Like this one, in situ or in place. The name itself suggests that in situ or in place means at the place, at the operation place itself, the leaching operation will be carried out. So this type of operation, in situ or in place leaching, is called as a solution mining. So other name for this in situ or in place leaching is solution mining. So usually what happens here means solvent will be circulated throughout in a thorough manner throughout this mining operation. This is mining. They are not at all mined out. They are not at all extracting that ore. Inside this mining setup only, or the earth crust only, this pipe will be drilled down. So one set of pipes for the solvent injection and another set of pipes is for solution extraction. Here solvent means a pure solvent, like in the gold extraction it may be a cyanide solution. So cyanide solution will be extracted if these deposits are the very low grade gold. Then this cyanide solution will be going inside this one, and it will be circulated throughout the in a thorough circulation fashion throughout the mining operation. It will be circulated. Then the solvent will finally, through some suitable pipes, will be the gold which is there inside that one, it will be dissolved by this cyanide solution. So solution is nothing but, for example, in the gold operation, cyanide solution plus gold which is coming out from this ore is called as a solution. Then finally whatever the solution is there will be coming out through the another set of pipelines. Then this pipe, after this pipelines, a solution can be extracted, and this solution can be further subjected to further purification operation. So as such, if you see, the leaching operations are nothing but a secondary operation, not a primary, we can say secondary phase operations. So they are not directly a purification technique, because when you see the distillation, it's a directly a purification technique, because the final product which you extract is almost a pure form. But here the final product which you extracted is a solution. So inside this one, some solvent is also there. Now we need certain other methods like a distillation we need here, like evaporation or something we need here, in order to separate out this soluble matter from the solvent. So these are the secondary operations, we can call this one. So like this, the operation can be carried out in the in situ or in place at the mining place itself, without any extracting of that mining ore, or without taking out that mining ore. The inside that mining only, that pipelines will be drilled out. One set of pipes will be used to inject the solvent, and another set of pipe will be used to extract the solution from that one. Then this solution will be subjected to further purification. So applications of this in situ leaching is not very limited, but there are many other applications also. As you can see, the three operations are there, popularly can be used for the removal of salt or from the rocks. The water can be used for leaching of copper. Some suitable solvents can be used from leaching of uranium mining, in the uranium in the form of UO2 or UO3, like oxides forms of uranium can be extracted or leached out using carbonate solutions. Some suitable carbonate solutions can be used. So this is intermediate or in situ or in place leaching. So this is okay.
Yes, sir.
And the next one is heap leaching. So this is also coarse particle leaching. means large, very large lumps will be arranged in a heaps or some impervious line. If you see this one, heaps will be there. So heaps are nothing but the arrangement of that particular ore, crushed ores in the form of some so one impervious layer will be there, some plastic or something which cannot be the solvent cannot be injected, or solvent cannot be gone through this one layer, is called as impervious layer. Then on this impervious layer, the crushed ores, so the mined ores, whatever the mining operation, during the mining operation, whatever the particles, coarse particle we obtain, it will be arranged in some piles. This is called piles or heaps, we can say. So these piles, through these piles, what happens, the solvent will be sprinkled, or we can say this is a drip irrigation. In the agricultural fields, you might have noticed the drip irrigation. So drip irrigation in our college setup also, there is a drip irrigation method. So somewhere if you see the water will be just sprinkled down, so that is called as a drip irrigation. Using the sprayer or some drip irrigation method, top side of this heaps, top side of this heaps, the solvent will be sprayed down. The solvent will be just flowing throughout these heaps, and after flowing down, the solution in the 360 degrees angle, the solution will be collected on this impervious layer. Then this solution will be collected in suitable setup, and it will be subjected to some further purifications. So the popular example or the application here will be the gold heaping or a gold mine ores. After extracting the gold, a small percentage of gold from this in situ leaching, the also much small amount of gold can be extracted using this heap leaching also. If you can notice here, this is a gold ore which is just spread in the form of heaps. On these heaps is suitable cyanide solution, sodium cyanide or potassium cyanide will be just sprinkled on this one. So after sprinkling the gold, this cyanide solution will be just mixing with this gold ore. Then after mixing that one, the soluble component, which is gold, will be just solubilizing inside that one cyanide solution. That cyanide solution will be coming out. This cyanide solution will be subjected to further purification. Like a rock salts can be just extracted. Some low grade ores of copper, nickel, this type of metal elements can also be extracted using this heap solution. So if you see, the mined ore is crushed into a small chunks, okay, small chunks or some coarse particles, and heaped on a impermeable plastic or clay like leach pad. So this is impervious layer. The sprinkled or occasionally used for irrigation. More often operations use drip irrigation to minimize evaporation, provide more uniform distribution of the leach solution, and avoid damage the exposed mineral. So the solution then percolates to the heap and leaches both the target and other minerals, the process called the leach cycle. So once the solution has been sprayed on this one or sprinkled on this one, so the solvent which is coming out as a solute form, so this completes one cycle of leaching. And furthermore, if you add another cycle, so the leaching operation efficiency can be enhanced. So generally it takes from 1 to 2 months for simple oxide ores like a most gold ores to 2 years for nickel laterite ores. For the nickel, it will take, this type of leaching operation will takes more than 2 years, or for the simple gold ores, it will take 1 or 2 months. So like this operation will be carried out. Like this, then the leach solution containing the dissolved minerals is then collected, treated in a process plant to recover the target mineral, and some cases precipitate other minerals and recycled to the heap after reagent levels are adjusted. The solvent after separating will be just sent back to the initial stage, or otherwise it will be just thrown out. Ultimately, the recovery of the target mineral can range from 30% of contained runoff dump leaching sulfide copper ores to over 90% of the ores that are easiest to leach, some oxide gold ores. So oxide gold ores are somewhat easy to leach compared to some nickel laterite. So it will take, for the nickel laterite, it will take some of the time, a large amount of time, or a maximum period of time up to 2 years or more than 2 years also it will take. But the oxide ores like this gold ores, it will take 1 or 2 months simply to complete this heap leaching operation. So the idea behind this heap leaching and in situ leaching is whatever the recoverable material is there can be recovered at the same place as the mining place. So these heaps also can be arranged at near to the mining place. So these two operations will be coming in the coarse particle leaching. Then comes if these particles are crushed, okay, these particles are crushed, then what happens, its size will be reduced. So probability of leaching of that particular solute from this ore will be enhanced. So next operation is percolation. So this is the operation which is used for intermediate particle size leaching. So the compared to this particle size of used in this heap leaching or in situ leaching, the particle size is somewhat reduced here. So the idea behind this leaching is, this type of percolation tank is, when we are arranging some suitable solids inside some pattern, whether it may be a fixed bed or whether it may be a packed bed. So how the contact pattern will be dependent, depending on that contact pattern, these are classified into two types. One is a spray percolation, or we can say full immersion percolation. So spray percolation, what happens, solvent will be just sprayed on this fixed bed, and this as soon as the solvent will be sprayed, it will be just traveling from top to the bottom, and finally the solution will be outlet. Then other case is also possible, in which the supernatant will be extracted from the top. Here if you see the supernatant solution, or we can call this a leached solution, so it will be extracted in the bottom. In other case, the supernatant or the leached solution can be extracted from the top. Usually in the both the cases, what happens, a false bottom, or we can say a perforated plate will be situated on which on this support, a support plate we can call, or a perforated plate we can call, false bottom plate we can call. So this is nothing but one type of screen, this perforation. So depending on the size of these particles, this perforation, the particle size, the perforation diameter will be dependent. So this false bottom or the perforation will be situated, this plate will be situated. On this plate, some particles will be arranged in a bed form, whether it may be a random bed form, or whether it may be a uh, or a random bed form, or some a pattern bed form, we can say. So it can be arranged in that one. What happens here means, the solution will be just flowing inside this one, as soon as just solution will be just coming to the top, like this one, full immersion is possible. Here in the spray type of operation, what the disadvantage means, when you are spraying this one, there is a maximum likelihood that some of the solvent will not at all be in contact with some of the particles. So particle contact with the solvent will be very limited here. Only some particles will be leached down. So in order to lower this type of disadvantage, the whole solvent will be in touch with these particles. So complete immersion of these solids will be possible here. And after complete immersion, the solvent will be flowing continuously here. As soon as the solvent will be coming on the top of this shell, or we can say this cylindrical vessel, so this solution will be the supernatant, or a overflow of this solution will be collected from the top. Further, these two solutions will be subjected to further purification. As you can see, type of operation, when you are spraying, this will be just going this one. Here the plate column is there. So when this is bed is arranged in such a fashion, this one, it will flow like this one. And here also when immersion is there, so immersion, what happens, the solvent will be just flowing like this one, and solvent, as soon as it is flown, it is taken as a overflow, this overflow can be extracted from the top. So this is two types of percolation tanks. In open vessels is possible. So when you need a closed vessel, when do you need a closed vessel? If the solvent used here is somewhat evaporative in nature, in order to lower the losses due to the evaporation, this will be closed. So that is nothing but a closed vessel percolation tank. So if the solvent is very much highly volatile, or the temperature of the leaching should be somewhat higher than the boiling point of this solvent, then we can use the closed vessel type of percolation tank. So this is closed vessel type of percolation tank. So in this one, the both sides will be just closed down. So because in order to lower the solvent loss, evaporation losses. So also when the pressure drop throughout this bed, when the pressure drop is very high. So if the pressure here is 1 kilopascal, here it is dropping to 0.5 pascal, here it is dropping to 0, or when it is dropping to 0, what happens? The flow will not be possible. So pressure drop is very high means we cannot use the open vessel. So we have to close that one in order to lower the pressure losses or pressure drop losses, we can say. So when the solvent is evaporative in nature, when the leaching operation has to be carried out at the temperatures above the boiling point of a solvent, and when the pressure drop of the bed is very high. In that three cases we can use this closed vessel. So these closed vessels are also called as a diffusers. So diffusers are used to prevent evaporation losses of solvents when solvent is highly volatile or when leaching temperatures are above the normal boiling point of the liquid. So this is the case when we can use this closed vessel percolation tank, or we can say this is called as a diffusers in some cases. So example for this type of operation is a tannin. So some rubber manufacturing industries will use this type of percolation tank in a closed vessel. So because the tannins will be extracted from tree bark or some wood barks. So using a water, it will be extracted. Water boiling point is 100 degrees centigrade. But this tannin leaching operation has to be carried out at 120. Then what happens? Evaporation loss of this water will be very high. In order to lower this evaporation loss, so here the closed vessels will be used, at which the water will be at 120 degrees centigrades. So this is percolation tank in a closed vessel. Okay, up to here it is okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. Then next one is here, if you see in the percolation tank, the operation is a cross current operation. So the solvent will be flowing from the top or the bottom and the solids in the opposite direction. If you clearly notice here, the solids here are in this flowing from top to bottom, or this solution is just flowing from bottom to top. So this is a cross current operation. Then what happens in the cross current operation? So the solution which is coming out will be very weak solution, or a leaching the solute which is leached out will be very low inside this one. In order to lower this probability of weak solution, what we can do, instead of changing these solids from one tank to another tank, a series of tanks can be arranged. So okay, that series of tanks can be arranged. If you see, this is Shanks process, we can call the arrangement of these tanks in a counter current fashion. It's need not to be same as this circular fashion. It can be arranged in some a linear fashion also. Like if you see here, this is called as a coke oven batteries. In the steel plant, if you notice, this one is called as a batteries. In the coking of coals, this is the best example. They will arrange this leaching operation in the battery form. This they in the steel plant popularly called as a batteries, or in the coffee industry. Nowadays we already have instant coffee. So that instant coffee, how we can extract? So using the coffee beans, that coffee beans will be grounded down, and using the water, the solute which is present inside that one, the coffee which is present inside that beans will be extracted, or nothing but a leaching operation. That is inside that leaching also, the Shanks process is very much helpful. This is the industrial setup. So that batteries will be arranged in a series fashion. How the solvent will be moved from one battery or a one tank to another tank is called as a Shanks process. So Shanks process is a continuous counter current multiple contact system. It is called continuous counter current multiple contact system. So if you notice in the figure 1 or a figure A, we can say, so there are 6 tanks. You can take this type of operation can be popularly applied for 6 to 16 batteries or 6 to 16 tanks, we can say. So in the coke oven, in the big steel plants, what happens in the coking of coal, this operation will takes place in 16 tanks, nearly 16 tanks they will use. For the battery, this one coffee extraction industry, they will use only six type of vessels. So how these vessels will be operated? Instead of moving these solids from one tank to another tank, they are holding these solids in one tank. The solids which are there in tank 1 will be remaining in tank 1 only. The solids which are remaining in tank 2 will be the which are remaining in tank 2 will be in tank 2 only. The solids are not at all moving, but the liquid which is there in this tank 1 is moving to tank 2, and liquid which is there in tank 2 is moving to tank 3. But how this movement of liquid will be arranged? So for example, if you see, assume this entire operation, this Shanks process is in operation for some time. We are not at all starting newly. Already this plant has been operated. You just assume like that. So initially what happens, if you assume the tank 6 is empty. So the tank is very much empty. There is no solids inside that one. There is no solvent inside that one. But what happens at the initial point of time, if you consider where you are evaluating this type of battery operation, so tank 1 to 5. So this tank 1 to 5 will be filled with solid as well as solvent. So solid and solvent both are there. So tank 1 you will fill, and tank 2 you will fill, tank 3 you will fill, tank 5 you will fill, tank 4 and tank 5 you will fill. So what happens? The maximum, the first if you fill this one, this solids if you fill this one with a solvent, so leaching operation will be carried out here. Whether it may be somewhat external force applied, or whether it may be some agitated, whether it's nothing but, or some percolation tank. So they are not discussing anything, only the contact pattern they are discussing. So tank 1 is first filled with solids and solvent, then tank 2 is then filled with solids and solvent, then similarly tank 3 and tank 4, tank 5. So what happens in this series, the tank 5 is filled for a last, filled in the last, for example at t is equal to time, t is equal to 0, this tank is filled with solvent and solids, and time t is equal to 1 minute, this is filled, and time t is equal to 3 minutes, this is filled, and time t is equal to 4 minutes, this is filled, and time t is equal to 5 minutes, this is filled. Then what happens? The fresh solids which are there is coming in this tank 5. Then what happens? The solvent which is there here in tank 1 will be just transferred to this tank 2, and the solvent which is there in tank 2 will be just carried to this tank 3, and similarly 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. Then what happens? This whatever the solvent which is there inside this one at time t is equal to 0, that at time t is equal to 5, what happens? This solvent which is there here is coming here, but at the same time when you are at the time t is equal to 5, you are also filling this tank with a fresh solid. So what happens here? The solvent which is there for the maximum time inside this operation is contact with fresh solid in tank 5. So obviously the concentration of this solute in this solvent will be very much high. So that's this statement. The final withdrawal liquid is taken from contact with the fresh solid, and fresh solvent is added to the solids from which most of the solute is already been leached or washed out. So when you are having the solvent which is present in this system for a maximum period of time, you are extracting the solvent from the tank having a fresh solid. So the maximum time solvent is coming in contact with fresh solvent, fresh solids. So the leaching capability of this solvent will be enhanced, and the final leached solution will have a will be called as a concentrated solution. At the same time, the maximum amount of soluble matter will be present inside this concentrated solution. And next, what happens? The next, this fresh solids will be filled inside this one, and this solids will be transferred to other tank. Then that solid, whatever the spent solid is there. So this is first we fill it at time t is equal to 0. This is we call this one is a solids which is filled first. So the age of this solids inside this tank will be very high compared to the age of this tank. So age of this tank, how we can say at t is equal to 0, we are inserting this, we are carrying out this operation. At t is equal to 5, this is a fresh one, this is a young. So this is very old. So this is called as a spent solids. So at tank at t is equal to some 6 second or 7 second or 8 second, until the maximum amount of solvent or solute is transferred to the solution will be reached. That time, at that time, what happens? This spent solid or a maximum age solids will be removed as a spent solids. Then the same operation we can continue from the tank 2. So this is called as a Shanks process. In the next operation, what happens? If you consider this as a n, so this will, in the next operation, it will become n plus 1. So 2. This is from here we are starting to fill the solids. But in the next operation, from here we start to fill the solids. So similarly, the same operation will be carried out. Now this tank will be empty. Earlier, this tank will be empty. Sixth tank. So this is the overall Shanks process. This is very, very important process. Here the process is I have given clearly. Assume at the time of inspecting the system at figure A. So this one figure A, that it has been in operation for some time. So this is already a operation, not a starting point or a shutdown of the plant. So this is already in a operation. Then tank 6 is empty. Tank 6 is empty. Tank 1 to 5 are filled with solid and with leached liquid. So liquid also, solvent is also filled, and at the same time solids are also filled. Fresh solvent is added to tank 1. Here tank 1 is added with fresh solvent, at the same time that is added with the solids also, but fresh solids will be added in 5. Withdraw the concentrated solution from tank 5. Here the concentrated solution will be withdrawn from tank 5. Transfer the liquid from tank 4 to tank 5. This is tank 4 to tank 5. Then tank 3 to tank 4. Then tank 2 to tank 3. Then tank 1 to tank 2. So this is overall. Then add fresh solid to tank 6. So fresh solid we will add to tank 6. Then refer to figure B, this one. So discard the spent solid from tank 1. So whatever the spent solids are there, in the next cycle it will be discarded, and this tank will be remaining as a empty tank now. In the earlier figure A, this tank is a empty tank, but here it is one is an empty tank here. Transfer the liquid from tank 5 to 6. So this is 5 to 6, then 4 to 5, then 3 to 4, and 2 to 3. So same operation will be carried out. Add fresh solvent to tank 2. So this is the young solvent, but this is oldest solids here. Young solvent and not. This is young solvent and oldest solid. This is young solids and oldest solvent here. So from here now from this one we have to extract the concentrated solution. So continue the operation in the same manner as before. The same one plus 1 we have to add. If you consider earlier in this case, this is starting point as n. So now in this case what happens? This is n plus 2. So n is equal to 1 here. But here n plus 1 means n is 1 here. 1 plus 1, it is 2. So similarly the operation will be carried out. So these are the popular operations in the coffee industry, in the metal industry, as well as is this steel industry. Steel industry is the very popular case to use this type of shank process. They will call inside their plant as a battery, coke oven batteries they will call. So many batteries will be arranged, a big setup will be there in order to have a coking of coal, we will call this one. So this is okay for you?
Sir, didn't understood properly, sir.
Okay, I thought same thing. Okay. First, if you inspect this one, figure A. So, okay, in the figure A, this tank, these are all the tanks, 6 tanks are there in this system. So, okay, these tanks will be ranging from 6 to 16 tanks. Okay, depending on that one. But here, as an example, only 6 tanks has been taken. In this 6 tanks, what happens? This tank 6 will be an empty without any solid or without any solvent. Then at time t is equal to 0, this tank 1, okay, this tank 1 will be filled with solid plus, okay, at the same time this tank 2, tank 3, tank 4, tank 5 will be filled with solid plus solvent. So if you start from here, filling process, if you start from here, what happens? The solids which are first filled, so time t is equal to 1, you can say, not 0, t is equal to 1, you take 1 minute. So time t is equal to 2 minutes. So age, if you take, this is 1 year baby, this is 2 years baby, this is 3 years baby, and this is 4 years baby, this is 5 years baby. So what happens? You have filled this 1 year baby is somewhat younger compared to no, completely deviating. Okay, this is very old one. So at initial point of time, if you take, this is initial point of time with solid plus solvent. So how can we say this is example? Just 1 second. It's suitable example, I have to say. T is equal to 0. Okay, yeah. At time, you just take time t is equal to 0, or a no time we take. Okay. At initial point of time, what happens? You are filling this tank with solids plus solvent. Okay. Then after filling this tank one, you are just filling this one. So the time taken to fill this one will be added to this one. Okay. This is okay. The time taken, if this tank filling takes you 1 minute, okay, then this tank will takes you 1 minute. So the age of this tank 2 will be younger than this age of this tank 1. Is this okay? This example, age, with the
Yes.
ages I am referring.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the age, this is older. First we assume this first one. This is younger compared to this one. This is younger. 3, tank 3 is younger compared to this tank 1 with respect to solids I am saying. So tank 4 is younger compared to this tank 3, and tank 5 is younger compared to this tank 4. So younger meaning the solids are filled then. So if you coming this operation like this tank 5 is very much younger compared to all these 4 tanks. If you refer in other way, so tank 5 is younger, but here tank 1 is very older. So where this is old person, this is new person. So what happens at a single point in time, the solvent will be moved from tank 1 to 2, then tank 2 to 3, then tank 3 to 4, then tank 3 to 5. So the initially this liquid is present, or solid solvent is present. So the solvent present here will be older solvent. That older person is just traveling from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, then 3 to 5. As soon as this older person as a solvent, it is coming into tank 5, the fresh solids are coming here because this is younger. Tank 5 is very younger. So it has just young baby, you can say. So this is young. The fresh solids are coming inside this one. So the fresh solids are just interacting with the older solvent which is there in the tank 1 by just traveling from tank 1 to tank 5. So here what happens in tank 5 is fresh solids are meeting with old solvent or a spent solvent, we can say. So they are two interacting here. The fresh solids are coming here. The fresh solids will have a maximum amount of soluble matter. Then the spent solid will already have a experience of getting from this to this tank. So these two will be just interacting here, and finally the concentrated solution is leaving from this tank 5. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, concentrated solution is leaving. The concentrated solution is nothing but the solution, the solvent which is very old compared to the solvent which is remained in other tanks. But how it is leaving? It is leaving when it is coming in contact with the fresh batch of solids. Then only it is leaving. What happens means the solids, the solid content which is there inside this tank 1, the solids are not at all moving here, only solvent is moving. The solids which are there in tank 1 is just thrown out. Okay, just they are spent solids, they are throwing out. So now what happens? Earlier this tank 6 is an empty tank. Okay, completely empty tank. Now when you thrown out this solids or spent solids which are there in tank 1, since they are very old, they are first filled solids, so they are thrown out. These are spent solids, they are thrown out. Then what happens? This will remains empty because this solids we are already throwing, so this tank will be empty. And in the next cycle, what happens? The solids and the next operation will be carried out from tank 2, the same operation. So whatever the solids which are filling in tank 1, or in the next operation we are filling in tank 2, then this will be the older tank, then this is the elder tank compared to 2, then this is a younger tank compared to this 3, and this is younger tank compared to this 4, and this is younger tank compared to this 5. So the older solvent which is there in tank 2 is once again flowing to the tank 6. Okay, then what happens now? From this, the older solvent is just flowing from tank 2 to tank 6, and in the next batch, a fresh solids will be added here because that this is older one, this is younger one. So younger batch is adding solids, are adding here. but older solution is traveling from 2 to 6. So older solution solvent is coming in contact with fresh solids. So from in the next cycle, from here the concentration coming out. Then similarly, what happens in the next stage, in the next operation, for example, cycle 3. In the cycle 3, what happens? These solids too are very much older. Okay, these are filled first. So because of this, this will be the spent solid will be taken out from this tank 2. Then this tank 2 will be empty then what happens? The operation will be carried out from tank 3. So this is older, then compared to this is younger in the next stage, then compared to this is younger in the next stage, and compared to this is younger in the next stage, and compared to this 6, this is younger in the next stage, but this 2 is empty in the third cycle. So same operation we have to carry it out. In each cycle, the tank number will change in a fashion that n plus 1. N plus 1 will be added. Here if you take in the first cycle, n is equal to 1. The cycle, what happens? The tank operation will be started from n plus 1. Here n is 1. So n plus 1 means 2. Then in the third cycle, n plus 1. Here n is 2. In the third cycle, n plus 1 means 2 plus 1, which is 3. From here, we have to start the operation. In the next fourth cycle, n plus 1. In the third cycle, n is equal to 3. The fourth cycle, plus 1 means fourth. From fourth, it will handle the operation here. So similarly, the same passion will be continued. In this operation, what is the advantage means at least one tank in the operation will be remain empty for the drop down of this time, cleaning time, or we can say this draining time. Okay, for the advantage of that one, Shanks process is very much having application in industrial operations like leaching, this coking of coal in the steel plant, and at the same time coffee industry, it is also having the applicability. Is this okay now?
Okay, sir.
Is it okay truly?
Once again, I will watch the video, sir.
Yeah, just read this one in the notebook. Also there are further more steps are also there. This is I have just summarized in a limited steps. This is also very understandable, but in the elaborate task from the textbook we have given in notebook. So read that one once again. It is very easy, just a small twist is there in this operation. If you understand that twist, you can explain on your own words. Okay, then next one is the leaching during grinding. Okay, wet grinding you might probably have seen in this one mechanical unit operation, wet grinding and dry grinding. The same operation, same wet grinding will be carried out in the leaching during grinding. What happens? Many solids, they will be just very hard solids. So this gold in the, if you take this as a gold mine or a gold ore, the gold will be present inside that ore. So very hard material will be there inside that one. The gold in a very minute quantities will be there. That minute quantities cannot be accessed by this solvent simply in a coarse particle range. In order to lower the coarse particle and increase the accessibility of this solvent in the gold solvent to the ore, the grinding operation will be carried out. So fine particles, the particles will be converted into the fine particles. When you convert the particles from coarse to fine, the leachability of the efficiency of the leaching operation will be increased. Here the idea is, inside this grinding operation only, when you inject the solvent inside this grinding operation, whether it may be a ball mill, whether it may be a attrition mill or something else, okay, whatever the mill, or a rod mill or something else, okay, whatever the operation is there, the operation here carried out is a size reduction operation. But along with this side reduction operation, when you inject the solvent here, the leaching operation will also take place. So solvent will be flowing in a parallel to the ore during the crushing operation. Then what happens? The finally the solution, which leached solution will be there, will be just extracted and it will be subjected to the further purification. So this is the idea behind this one. This is very popularly used in the gold mining operations. This is nothing but a leaching during grinding, in which solvent plus crushed ore will be flowing parallel to each other. Then during this flowing and size reduction operation, the solvent or a cyanide solution will solubilize the gold which is present in this ore, and the final solution will be coming out on the other direction. Then from this other direction, the leached solution will be subjected to further purification and a pure gold can be extracted. That's the example for this leaching during grinding. Then the next one is the agitated vessels. So how these agitated vessels differ from the operations which we have discussed earlier. So here if you see agitated vessel, name itself suggests that some external forces through some paddles or through some stirrer, we are applying some external force. We are revolving that one. So there are three types of agitated vessels. One is this vertical vessel and this horizontal vessel, and another type is a tumbling vessel, we can say, or a tumbling spear, we can say. So in this one, what happens? The solids will be fed along with the solvent and it will be immersed, and the solids and solvent will be bring into intimate contact using some external force like a paddle, like a stirrer. It will be used to just increase the mass transfer between the solid and liquid, or a solid and solvent. Then finally the solvent will be the solvent along with the solute which is present in the solid will be just collected from the bottom, and in the side the solid spent solids will be collected. So similar is the case with the horizontal vessels also, in which solid plus solvent is flowing in one direction, and the paddles or something stirrers will be arranged here. It will be revolving, and in order to increase the maximum intimate contact between solid and liquid, so these paddles or some stirrers will be provided inside that one. After the leaching operation, the solution will be collected from the bottom in a series of arrangements. Then solids, spent solids will be collected in the side view. So these two types are there, and the next one is a tumbling type of agitated vessel. In this one, no external agitator is there, only the whole spear. The spear is just revolving. This is tumbling one. Due to the attrition between particle and particle, due to the attrition between this solid vessel and solid particles, what happens? The size reduction will also takes place, and at the same time the solids will be, the solute component which is there in the solid will be solubilizing inside this solvent. Then it will be, the complete solution will be drained out from the bottom. So these three types of arrangements are possible. One is a vertical and horizontal agitated vessel, and next one is a tumbling vessel. In order to aid the maximum mass transfer, solid and an external force will be provided, maybe in the form of paddles, maybe in the form of stirrer, maybe in the form of tumbling. Okay, these three operations, using these three operations, the mass transfer between solid and liquid will be very much enhanced. So this is regarding the vegetated vessels. It can be operated in a continuous fashion, or it can be operated in a semi-batch or a batch operation. So it may be unsteady state or it may be a steady state. So this is the advantage of agitated vessels. Then the next one is a Boltzmann extractor. So if you see, this one is Boltzmann extractor coming under the continuous extractor. What happens here is buckets will be there. These buckets are known as a bucket conveyor, we can say. So these buckets will be just revolving with the help of a conveyor belt. So this is revolving in this direction, anti-clockwise direction. So the solids will be fed down, that dry flakes or whatever the solids are there, or whether it may be a mine ores, or whether it may be a seeds, groundnut seeds or something. When we are extracting the oil or leaching out oil, the solids will be flowing, and these solids will be on some will be catched by this bucket, and it will be revolving like this. So how the operation will carried out? So operation initially is the pure solvent will be used. The pure solvent, when it coming in contact with this solid particles, this solvent will be solubilizing the solute component which is present in the solids. Then after dissolving that solute particles, the solvent plus what we say, this solvent plus solute which is there. For example, in the case of this oil extraction, so what happens, if you see, this is a groundnut seeds. So groundnut seeds are just flowing inside this bucket, and these buckets are just revolving. So the pure solvent like a hexane, okay, hexane or some pentane or something is there, or a petroleum cut fractions. This pure solvent on the left side of this bucket. So here the left side, the solvent is just coming in contact with the solid groundnut seeds. So what happens? This oil will be solubilizing inside this solvent. That oil plus solvent is called as a this one half micella, we can say. Oil plus solvent is called as a half micella. This half micella will be flowing like this, oil plus solvent. This half micella will be pumped back from the right side of this Boltzmann extractor once again to the storage tank here, half micellar storage tank, and through this half micellar storage tank, it will be once applied to the fresh solids. These are the fresh solids, or these are the spent solid section. This is fresh solid section, this is spent solid section, and this is the spent micellar section. This is the fresh solvent section. So the fresh solvent will be coming with the spent solid, will be coming in contact with the spent solid, and spent liquor or a spent micella or a half micella is coming with the contact with the fresh solids. Then half micella is nothing but oil plus solvent is called as a half micella. Then whatever the half micella is coming in contact with the seeds will be just flowing using this conveyor belt, and this cycle will be revolving like this one. Then after a suitable time of this leaching operation, the micella is nothing but oil plus this solvent plus some finely divided particles of solids is called as a micella. This micella will be just collected out and it will be subjected to further purification. So this is I have taken for the example of oil only. So for other examples like a nickel ore or copper ore or a gold ore, we can say the gold as an example instead of oil. So here micella is half micella is nothing but oil plus solvent is called as a half micella, and oil plus solvent plus finely divided small particles of solids is called as a micella. So the idea behind this one is when the solids are revolving or just carrying in a tumbling section, the fresh solvent has to be come in contact with the spent solid, and the spent liquor or a spent to be come in contact with solvent. Then the operation efficiency will be very much increased. So that's the idea behind this Boltzmann extractor. So this is called as a moving solid bed extractors or moving solid bed leaching operation. Since the bed solids are moving here in the percolation tank, what happened? The solids are stagnant or a fixed bed type of setup is there. The next one is a Hildebrand extractor. So in detail, we will discuss this Boltzmann and Hildebrand extractor in the next class. Okay, I hope you understood this one. Okay, I am clueless whether you understood or not.